Gentlemen. Need me to get out of here? Lost it.
When you get situated.
It was on.
It's on HDMI.
It's broke.
Just take mine, I don't use it. Laptop and phone.
We might need to pull it over there.
I need to get away.
So this is not what I did to get you there, but.
Okay.
We're having a few technical
Pull it down.
Make this easy for you, didn't it?
Right.
Just renamed it to Microsoft 365.
Okay.
Ready to get out of here.
Okay. Have a request.
That's gonna get you here,
that's what it is.
which is
It's one of
where
those
it
things.
gets you on your
Those
phone.
new ones.
And this is where you do Microsoft stuff.
Scoot under you real quick.
I assume. They do it a simpler way, but that's the
Yeah.
fastest way.
All right. Thanks, sir.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I don't need that.
Thank you.
Don't think about that. No, I don't want that.
All right, everybody good? Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's workshop hour. This is the portion of our meeting before the council meeting where we discuss any agenda items that council needs more time to talk about and discuss. We also try to get some executive session items out of the way, which we will do those this morning. We'll ask council if there are any agenda items that you want to discuss before we go into executive session. We do have Mark Lazarus with us this morning. Mark, we need to come back to you after executive session?
Yeah, I had run just a few minutes late.
Okay. All right, I'll ask if I could please have a motion to go into executive session to discuss the following items. Negotiations concerning proposed contractual arrangements involving beach franchises. Proposed contractual arrangements involving Lakewood Campground lease extension. And to discuss negotiations concerning proposed contractual arrangements involving the Myrtle Beach Pelicans. We will invite Fox Simons, Will Bryan, Brian Tucker, Josh Bruger, Michelle Schaffert, Mama Bell, Meredith Denarian, Amy Newshaper. Josh Bruger is not here today. May I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved. Second.
Motion from Dr. Connor, second from Ms. Happy.
Oh, there he is.
Any discussion from council? Any discussion from the public? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Will, are you okay if before we go into executive session, we do a brief introduction?
Sure.
Thank you. We do have a very special guest with us today. We have the new executive director for all very excited about what's ahead for you.
Good morning, thank y'all so much, thank you for your indulgence. Brian's just remembering his way around town. Anyway, I am the co-chair of the Boys and Girls Club right next door. I want to thank the city for your support, prior support, and I know future support. We've got a lot of great things going on next door. We're servicing almost 200 kids close to it in our neighborhood right here or around the city of Myrtle Beach area, although we do take in some from other areas, but the majority of our kids that we do have coming for our after-school program and our summer school program are right here in our own neighborhood. We're really excited to have Ryan here as our new executive director. Ryan grew up just 4 doors down from the existing club today. He actually went to the club that the Browns family started, which are still an integral part of our organization and still on the board of directors with us. But Ryan's just a great example of a young man that has grown up in our area and faced a lot of diversity in his childhood, was raised by his mother and his grandmother, but he saw a better future. He saw a better way of life, went and got his college degree, and he started out in the Boys and Girls Club here, and then he decided that was his passion and wanted to continue on in the Boys and Girls Club, and has been all over the state and into North Carolina operating Boys and Girls Club and other endeavors that he's been involved in. So it's a great testament to our community and to this young man that if you stay focused and do the right things, that the right things can come. And he's going to bring that attitude to all of our kids, and that's his passion here. So that's why we're excited to have him. He also played on the 2002 Myrtle Beach championship basketball team, state championship team. So you can get along pretty good, right? No, we're excited, and I could tell his whole story, but I'll give Ryan a minute to talk. But thank y'all again, for all your support and your help over the years. And Fox, I promise you everything's good. Ryan?
Good morning. Thank you for having me this morning. I'm just excited to be back home. I've been gone for 20 years, and how nostalgic is it for me to be at the club where I grew up just 4 doors down, right there on 1204 Dunbar Street, raised by my grandmother and my mother. And I just want to be to those kids who I felt like I needed when I was growing up. And so I have a lot of plans, a lot of great desires, and the kids have been wonderful. Mr. Lazarus and Ms. Jen, the board has been wonderful to me, and I'm just excited to get to work. And thank you for having me, and I look forward to working with you all in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, we do too.
Yes, sir.
Come up and introduce yourself to each of us,
Okay.
please.
I'm Bill.
Yes, sir. All right.
Jackie Hatley, nice to meet you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Ryan, Mark, thank you for being here. All right, we are going to go into executive session, and we'll be back.
Yeah, I guess so.
this in the,
Yeah.
I mean, if you wanna leave, we can put both of these in there.
Hey, City Council, here's what's coming up. We hope to see you at the city's annual 9/11 Remember.
hold on. May I please have a motion to come out of executive session?
So moved.
Got a motion from Mr. Louder, second from Mr. McClure. Any discussion from council? Any discussion from the public? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Thank you. Our meeting will start in 3 minutes, and while we're waiting, I just have to say, to come out of executive session and into this room and see our friends from Rolling Thunder, number one, thank you for being here. To see a room full of Pelicans fans, thank you for being here. But to see a room filled with dogs really makes my day, so no offense to any of you. All right, good morning again, everyone. We will call this morning's City Council meeting to order. We thank you for being here with us. I would ask if at this time you would please silence your cell phones. And if you wish, you may rise and join council for the invocation, which Dr. Connor will lead us in this morning, as well as the Pledge of Allegiance.
Bow our head, please. Lord, we ask your divine intervention here today on each person that is represented and each family that's represented here in these chambers. Lord, we ask you as we conduct our civic duty that you be with us as we speak and engage civilly with one another. Lord, we thank you for the blessings of this community. We ask your hand to be on our country, on our state, and our city as we enter a time of elections and as we deal with challenges that we are faced with. We ask you for your divine power for each of us. And Lord, especially today, as it is Suicide Prevention Awareness Day, we ask you to be with those families who have lost loved ones. In your name we pray, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
right, thank you. Council has had time to review today's agenda, so I will ask for a motion for approval, please.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Mr. Chestnut, second from Dr. Connor. Any discussion from council? Any discussion from the public? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. May I have a motion for the approval of our meeting minutes from August 27th, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Dr. Connor, second from Mr. Louder. Any discussion from council? Any discussion from the public? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Well, for our first proclamation today, it is in honor of September 2024 being National Service Dog Month. And I thought that just Dr. Jim Barry was going to be here today, but I'm thrilled that we have so many others who have joined us and that you have brought your service dogs. So please come forward and bring those puppies up here. And Janet Morgan cannot get down here fast enough to get a picture.
You don't get to do this often. Bring all the doggies down, please.
Nice to meet you. Just come on down.
We are allowed to pet them. We are allowed to pet them.
Council has an opportunity to shake your hand.
Right now, Chastity is literally freaking out somewhere in this room.
She's staying up there.
Yeah, deathly afraid of dogs.
Kathleen is going to be so jealous that all these dogs are here today. Bring some over here.
So the police is going to the
All right, now that we have everyone down here, this might be my favorite proclamation so far. Here we go. A proclamation recognizing National Service Dog Month in Myrtle Beach, September 2024. Whereas it's no secret that dogs are truly man and woman's best friend, but they are especially invaluable when it comes to the impact service dogs have on the lives of people with disabilities. And whereas among the 64 million American adults and children living with a disability, only about 16,000 benefit from the assistance of task-trained service dogs from accredited training programs. And whereas Canine Companions is a nonprofit that provides expertly trained service dogs, empowering people of all ages with disabilities to have greater independence by providing training, ongoing follow-up services, and a deeply committed community of support. And whereas the city of Myrtle Beach continues to strive to become an all-inclusive community in which all citizens and their service dogs are embraced. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Myrtle Beach City Council hereby designates September 2024 as National Service Dog Month and encourages citizens of Myrtle Beach to celebrate service dogs and to be respectful of the rights afforded to the adults, children, and veterans who lead more independent lives because of their assistance. Signed and sealed this 10th day of September, 2024. There you go, Mr. Blair.
Thank you so much.
There you go.
All right.
Thank you.
Mayor and Council, my name is Dr. Jim Barry. I am with Canine Companions organization, and we also have another local organization that's here as well that I invited to join us. Love on the Leash Grand Strand, I believe, is the title. And they do wonderful work here in our community, visiting our schools, nursing homes, hospitals, coastal Carolina, the airport, and so on. So I wanted to include them in this as well. But we certainly appreciate the recognition and the opportunity to come here today and share this important month with you all. 64 million Americans are in need or could use a service dog in some form or fashion. So to have this opportunity to let the public know about the important work that these dogs do is indeed a pleasure, and we greatly, greatly appreciate it. So thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Sure, thank you for being here. Here. Here.
Big ones.
All right.
Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy.
Hey there. Hey there. Thanks for being here. Oh, yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Hey, Archie. Hey there. Pretty.
We do too.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Thanks for coming, Archie.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're a big one. Can you get up here?
Thanks for being here.
Not today.
Not today. Hey there, how are you? Hey, Finn. Thanks for coming. Hey, okay. All right.
Dan, thanks for coming.
Good morning. Good morning. Pretty. Thanks for
Oh,
coming today. Hey. Hey. Thank you. Yeah, good to see you. Yes, ma'am. Oh, yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hey there. Thank you.
A little more exciting than a nursing.
Good morning. Yeah. All right. Come here. Hey there, how are you, my dear? Thank you. Good to see you.
I'm going to go home with my dog.
Good to see you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Been a while. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate all you do.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks for coming. Oh, yeah. Good talking about it.
I was gonna ask Janet if she was reporting or doing therapy. Little puppy therapy.
Right. Thank you, and thank you for all the dogs and their handlers being here today. That was awesome. All right, now we honor National Recovery Month, and I have Aaron Kacharski with me and also members of Access Favor, the local recovery group. National Recovery Month, September 2024. Whereas problems with drugs and alcohol are found in all communities nationwide, but with commitment and support, those affected can embark on a journey of improved health and overall wellness. And whereas the focus of Recovery Month each September is to celebrate the 23 million Americans who make the journey of recovery possible by embracing the belief that recovery is for everyone, every person, every family, every community, and by spreading the message that people can and do recover every day. And whereas the effects of mental health and substance use disorders are apparent in our local community, while an estimated 1.1 million people in South Carolina are touched by these conditions. And whereas through Recovery Month, people become more aware and better able to recognize the signs of mental health and substance use disorders and to encourage people in need of recovery services to seek help. And whereas managing the effects of these conditions helps individuals achieve healthy lifestyles, both physically and emotionally, while recognition of Recovery Month works to improve lives by raising awareness of mental health needs and substance abuse disorders. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Myrtle Beach City Council hereby designates September as Recovery Month and calls upon residents to observe this month with compelling programs and events that support the 34th anniversary of Recovery Month. Signed and sealed this 10th day of September, 2024.
Good morning.
Thank you for this time, and I want to apologize in advance that and to City Council and the general public that we're just not going to be as cute as the service animal parade that we just witnessed. My name's Aaron Kacharski. 4 days ago, I celebrated public about it, but the reality is there's a lot. But the reality is there's a lot in recovery. I choose to be public about it, but the reality is there's a lot of people in recovery. I choose to be public about it, but the reality is there's a lot of people that struggle in silence. There's a lot of stigma and shame that people go through. When I think about recovery, it's about, people recover in their communities. People might initiate their recovery journey in a facility or treatment center, but people really heal where they live. And so, just ask, when you're thinking about this issue, ask what we can do to make our community allow recovery to thrive. At the end of August, we just had a Overdose Awareness Day event at Chapin Library, and a lot of family members and people impacted came together. I want to thank Michelle Smith, that's the opioid response coordinator, for coordinating that event. And so it's kind of a strange thing. In August, we honor the people that we've lost, and then kind of turn a page in September towards hope and recovery. And so, as somebody who's lost a lot of friends and family members to substance use or alcoholism, it's a weird time of year. So I thank City Council for the proclamation. And the last thing I wanted to do is invite you all on October 7th from 11 to 2 at Midtown Vineyard Church. There is a national recovery bus that is starting in Los Angeles and making its way across the country. And it's going to be in Myrtle Beach on October 7th. It's on a Monday. And people can sign the bus, so by the time it gets here, you're going to see thousands of recovery dates and messages of hope and remembrance, and we welcome you all to be a part of that. Councilman McClure is going to be speaking at that event. We invite you all to attend that. We'll have the proclamation there and everything. And so with that, I wanted to turn things over to Bonnie just to share about some of the recovery support services that Access Favor does here in the Grand Strand.
Good morning. My name is Bonnie Rothermel. I am a person in long-term recovery. And what that means to me is that I have not used any drugs or alcohol since December 18th, 2011. I am the Director of Programs with Access Favor. We are the only recovery community organization in Horry County. We provide recovery support services to people who are seeking recovery and helping them define what that looks like for them. We also provide HIV and hepatitis C testing. We also provide harm reduction supplies to help reduce overdoses and the spread of diseases. We work with people for no cost. We work with anyone, no matter what their situation is. We spend a lot of time in our local detention center, J. Rubin. We're the only recovery organization that works with pretrial inmates who are looking to change their life. So thank you for having us, and thank you for recognizing National Recovery Month.
Thank you.
Thank you.
have members of the Junior League of the Grand Strand with me now for Junior League Find the Good Day, and that is September 19th, 2024. Whereas the Junior Leagues of South Carolina have been instrumental in shaping the future of our state through their commitment to empowering women as leaders, volunteers, and agents of positive change. And whereas Junior League Find the Good Day provides an opportunity to honor Junior League's commitment to embracing the spirit of kindness through a dedication to unity and change that has lasting impacts on our communities. And whereas the efforts of the Junior League of the Grand Strand have resulted in positive contributions to the greater Myrtle Beach community. And whereas the leadership development and training provided by the Junior Leagues have fostered a generation of women who, through leadership, are dedicated to driving sustainable, impactful change for our community and those around us. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Myrtle Beach City Council hereby declares September 19th, 2024 as Junior League Find the Good Day and encourages citizens to celebrate the work of our local Junior League chapter and those around the state. Signed and sealed this 10th day of September, almost said December, 2024. Lisa Poston here. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Lisa Poston, and I get to serve as the president of our local chapter of the Junior League. We are a baby Junior League, so Junior League itself in this nation is over 100 years old. We are just 4.5 years old, and we are the fastest growing Junior League in the nation. So it's a testament to the women and the development of our community and how we want to serve. We are humbled by this honor. We're excited that we got a state proclamation and a city proclamation, so thank you so much. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Good to see you. Congratulations. Thank you. Good to see you. Thanks for coming. How are you? Good to see you. Thank you. Hey, dear. Good to see you. Hey, how are you? Yes, ma'am. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Thank you.
Good to see you.
How are you?
Do you want us to stand or sit? Yes. Yeah, if y'all want to get in. Okay, and now it's time for our public information update. Okay.
Remembrance ceremony at 10.
It's not working.
Hey, City Council, here's what's coming up. We hope to see you at the city's annual 9/11 Remembrance Ceremony at 10 in the morning this Wednesday, September 11th. That's tomorrow. Everyone's encouraged to park in the new Warburg Park parking lot next to the park at 150 Farrell Parkway. Everyone is welcome to participate in the annual 9/11 Memorial Stair Climb at Crabtree Memorial Gym.
Sorry about that. We tested it earlier and it was working. Tomorrow is, of course, the 23rd anniversary of September 11th. City Council is invited. The public, we hope that you'll join us to honor the lives that we lost on September 11th, 2001. Our ceremony has moved up this year. It's at 10 o'clock in the morning at Warburg Park. That address is 150 Farrell Parkway. And the parking lot is going to be open now, that brand new parking lot. So this is the first time we'll get to use it. And overflow parking will also be located at Splinter City Golf Course. And then next, for people who also want to remember those who died at Crabtree Memorial Gym, until Saturday, you can go climb the stairs. You can do all 110 flights, or just as many as you can. Non-members and members are invited. Of course, that's a free event that you can do. All you have to do is go register this year a little differently. The Myrtle Beach Fire Department is going to host their annual ScareCon event, but this year it's going to be firefighters only at the Yachtman, and that starts at 8:46 in the morning tomorrow morning. But people can, of course, go to watch and also reflect on what that means for everybody. And then also tonight at the train depot, I believe it starts at 5 o'clock. There's a Healthy Pond series where members of the Clemson Extension and also the Myrtle Beach Public Works Department are going to be talking about healthy ponds, healthy stormwater ponds in our area, and that's going on at the train depot. It's a drop-in style event, and it goes until 6:30. People can still sign up for the Tunnel to Towers 5K that's going on at 8 in the morning at the Market Common on Sunday. All you do is go to t2t.org to sign up there. And that's always a nice event to attend. A lot of our firefighters will run that 5K in their full firefighting uniform, so of course that's something very meaningful to see. And some other things that we have going on as of yesterday, beach construction began at the 24th Avenue Ocean Outfall. That includes putting the fencing up, closing the 24th Avenue North beach access, and also removing some shrubs there. The main thing that the public needs to know is that beach access is now closed until further notice. So we are estimating that to be about 2 years, and the Ocean Outfall will reopen hopefully when construction is done in early 2026. Of course, the Outfall is a very exciting project for the city, something that will help remove 11 stormwater pipes off the beach and also filter that water before it reaches the ocean. And be sure to check our Facebook page, Nights at Nance, gets started this week, September 12th, with the Grand 100 Band, I believe they're called, and that starts at 6 o'clock in Nance Plaza and goes until 8 o'clock, and that's the first of 4 concerts that go until the end of October. They're about every other week, but that's always exciting from the Myrtle Beach Downtown Alliance. And last but not least, the Myrtle Beach Downtown Alliance is hosting their community input series. I believe the first one is September 19th off the top of my head, Jason. Anyways, that's on our Facebook page as well, and also in the Friday Facts. It's, I believe, from 5 to 8. Those are drop-in style as well. It's important for the community to attend because it's their opportunity to bring feedback on what they want to see with the downtown, with the Arts and Innovation District, with their branding projects, and also exciting events that are going on. There are 4 of those, so for those dates, please be sure to check our Facebook page, and the times and the locations also vary. And last but not least, our Neighborhood Services Department will be hosting the Community Block Party Vendor Market at Charlie's Place. This is one of the last ones of the season, so make sure that you attend, and that's from 5 to 8 on the 21st of September.
All right. Thank you, Meredith. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Before we open it up for non-agenda items from the public, as I said, we have so many Pelicans fans here today. Thank you for joining us. And thank you. And before we listen to any non-agenda items from the public, one of the things that we want you all to understand is that we are also Pelicans fans. Every member of this council is working to do everything that we can do with our management team to work with Horry County, which actually owns 30% of the baseball stadium. A lot of people forget that or have never known that. So there are a lot of moving parts with these negotiations, and I realize that it's frustrating because we can't always talk about it publicly, because that's not how contracts are negotiated. But once something has once we have come to an agreement, we will let all of you know what that information is. Where we are right now is we are waiting on an analysis of the current stadium to be done, of what are any construction or engineering issues that may add costs to the upgrades of the stadium above what the MLB, Major League Baseball, increased standards would be. So we should have that any day now. Management will review that with council so that we know what those projected costs are. And then we go back to the drawing board with the owner of the Pelicans to
negotiate a lease agreement with him, as well as with Horry County. So I hope that gives you a better understanding of all of the moving parts that take place with this. It is not a situation where we are just sitting back and doing nothing about this. We are working very diligently to try to come to a consensus and to an agreement. With that being said, we will open this up for non-agenda items from the public. I will ask if you are here to talk about the Pelicans, if you would choose maybe 3 people to represent you all for the sake of time. And if you have signed up, we're going to start with non-agenda items from the public that are not Pelicans related. I don't know if you can figure that out or not.
Alex Vogel.
Good morning, Alex.
I haven't had a chance to attend any of the bicycle or pedestrian committee meetings, so this has been covered in many of them that you're aware of. I apologize, but with the increased number of e-bikes and scooters and stuff getting onto our paths and due to the boardwalk and everything, I think it would be beneficial to start looking at some sort of regulation of those. We're supposed to be going down, pedestrian paths at 25 to 30 miles an hour sometimes. And, it's getting dangerous. So, again, it's been mentioned in the committee already. I'm sorry, but if not, maybe one of you could get it on the agenda for the committee to discuss. Okay?
Absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate you for being here today.
Bud Shepherd.
Mr. Shepherd, for the record, would you please state your name and address for the clerk?
Shepherd, I go by Bud. I live at 2604 Cruzel Street, Market Common. My concern is with the stormwater runoff ponds that we have on Farrell Parkway. And yesterday, me and my wife, we traveled on Farrell Parkway, and I drew out a little map here to try to hang up to give you a reference point of what I'm talking about. Get it up on this podium. If you could make heads or tails of this. But I'm referring to these stormwater runoff ponds that are on Farrell Parkway. I happen to live right across the street from Tofino's Bakery. And the smallest pond is right in front of my house. And it is the lowest one right now, and it's full of fungus, or algae, whatever you want to call it. And it's a real eyesore. But yesterday, during my research, I started up here at by Damon's restaurant as a reference. That's where these ponds will run off into the ocean if they open the gates up here, which that's my concern right now. On the other end, they run into the. Why is this mic doing that? Sorry about that. The other side runs into the intercoastal waterway. The only way. Does this work better? No. I can talk loud enough.
Well, it's the TV needs to hear you.
Oh, okay. The only way that these ponds can be refilled is water and rain. And we haven't had rain for a while, so it's going to be a while before these will fill up. My concern is gates prior to when we're having weather or a tornado or a hurricane or whatever, they open over here and drain. The only way these ponds are going to be rainwater runoff, or if the Myrtle Beach Police would give a ticket to every speeder going up and down Farrell Parkway and require them to put 50 gallons into it, that might help. The other would be our brings down about a water and would fill these what? I did some research on market comp sea level. The airport's 25 feet above sea level, and to ponds, it would require a 26 feet high and go a mile inland, and that's not going to happen. The last tsunami was in 1899, and that was in Charleston. request is, please, don't open the gates and drain the ponds unless it's necessary, because it's a real eyesore. I have to look at this every day. While I was walking around the pond, big pond up here by 810 bowling alley, it needs cleaned up. It's a real eyesore to the public. It's full of bottles and trash and bags and everything. It just does not represent Market Common very well. So whoever's responsible for that, I would ask that you would take care of that, please. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tucker, would you like to explain the rationale behind the ponds being lowered since we're still in hurricane season?
We did lower the ponds for Debbie. I think if you all remember, we anticipated getting possibly as much as 20-plus inches of rain for that storm. So we did what we would normally do, and we had storm prep all over the city, including in Market Common. We did lower those ponds. The Thursday, when the forecast changed and we recognized we would not get as much rain as we originally forecast, we readjusted the valves back up to normal level. And the gentleman's correct. It's going to take some time to do that. I think we've gone through a couple of different seasons now where we've tried to lower those and tried to get the math right. I think we've adjusted some policies internally to make sure that we are considering all of the different variables prior to us lowering the ponds next time and maybe figuring that out a little bit more. We do recognize that they are low. They are healthy. There's not a health hazard associated to the lower water, but we've adjusted that. And rain, as we get through this season, I don't like calling it a hurricane season, but as we get through this weather season, we anticipate they will refill and we'll be back to normal.
Thank you.
Everyone else is for the Pelicans on here, Mayor.
Okay, so for the Pelicans, could you please appoint 3 people to come up and speak on your behalf? Yes. Lady in the back raised her hand first. Who signed up, Jen?
We have a Mike, looks like Greer.
Well, take the first 3 that signed up.
Okay. Mike. Okay. Come on down, Mike.
Okay, now you can, most of you know me up here, I think, I know most of you. I am dedicated season pass holder to Pelicans. I also belong to the Myrtle Beach Citizens Police Alumni Association. And some things I just wanted to say quickly to touch on is how valuable they are to the city and most of the community people. Pelicans pays and donates a lot of money to groups, including our group. Employ a lot of college and high school kids through the whole summer, and you know there's lots of entertainment. I sit there. I love meeting different people from not only other parts of the United States but other countries that on vacation make a point of coming to the Pelicans games as entertainment because there is a lot they do there for kids and families too. So other than that, just to support them, and as you said, I know you all do, and the whole crew out here is all in favor also. We hope we can get it together because we don't want to get Pelicans, that too, I'm sure. So other than that, they do a lot of fundraising money for people, whoever, handicapped a lot. Fire department, a lot of companies come there and solicit for business too. So other than that,
Thank you.
I hope we do well. Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mike.
Glenn Anderson.
Sounds good. Good morning,
Good morning.
Mayor Bethune and City. For the update, Mayor Bethune, on Pelicans. Really appreciate that. My name is Glenn Anderson, and I am the Barefoot Resort Pelicans liaison and everything. And I'm responsible for selling luxury suites for the Pelicans for Barefoot Resort residents and guests. This past year, I sold 18 suites plus 90 barbecue tickets, which also added a lot of tax dollars to Myrtle Beach, which is not bad, right? Our Barefoot resorts and guests have enjoyed the Pelicans games for many years and enjoyed this feature of having the suites, and we hope to continue that. And I want to thank you for your support and time, and hope that the contract gets negotiated and signed quickly, and we can move forward, right? All right, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dustin, I can't read your last name.
Dustin Ritter, 201 South Highland Way. We're hearing a lot today about community, right? Some great organizations are recognized, and community takes a lot of things, right? And the people behind me are one good community. And the fact that I go to games, I'm the father of 3. I've coached 200 plus kids through Pepper Gettys. I've coached against hundreds and hundreds of kids. This is a community. We see our teachers, we see our parishioners at church, we see a lot of different people there. It is important. I started a Facebook group just a week ago. We've had over 1,500 members join, right? You look behind us, we're not all here. Right? I am pleased to see a couple kids, right? It's a Tuesday at 10 o'clock. These people have taken off and come here. I appreciate every single one of them, right? These 2 boys here, they couldn't come. They're taking state assessments in school. Their voice wouldn't be heard if I wasn't here. We have hundreds and hundreds of kids in this community of all ethnicities. We have a huge Latino population. They see themselves reflected on those fields. We have to give ourselves the opportunity for our youth to be heard and for communities to be seen. We're spending quite a bit of money. I'm not questioning other decisions. But if we lose the Pelicans, our group of 1,500 people aren't going to fit in a 300-seat theater. It would take 833 sold-out theater events to reach the same amount of people that come to Pelicans games. So my ask of you is to be fair, open, and honest. There's times I haven't felt that way, right? And I understand it's a negotiation. It's a tough negotiation. You're doing our work. There's no question about that. You represent us. We appreciate it. We appreciate your time that you do, the information you can share. But I must ask that when we go through these processes of negotiating, that we understand you're not always going to be in executive session. We have to work in good faith, and we have to be open, honest. One of those elements are, as a baseball fan, I knew the Frederick Keys lost their team. This was 4 years ago. We knew about the stadium requirements 4 years ago. The fact that we're now going through and taking time to look at different, additional upgrades and things like that should have been done 4 years ago. So I have 15 seconds left. I believe we have 30 minutes overall, so I would encourage the council to hear from my colleagues, those that weren't aware to sign up. So I would encourage us all to use that time. Thank you.
Thank you. And I will let you know, we did not wait until just recently to start these negotiations. We have been working over the last 4 years on this.
Wendy Evans.
Thank you for letting us talk in front of y'all. You really need to hear it from a mom standpoint. 23 years ago, I moved to Myrtle Beach. 20 years, I've been at the Myrtle Beach Pelicans, along with a lot of my coworkers. My friends and I created a nonprofit called familyfundraising.org. A lot of y'all have no clue. That's where the volunteers come to the Pelicans. They raise money for their kids. I'm a single mom. Thankfully, my kid's 26 years old, living in Hawaii. But I raised her at the Pelicans. It is our home away from home. Please, please make sure that stays. I've seen so many attractions leave this area. The Pelicans cannot do that. Work as hard and due diligence as you can to make it happen and let them stay here. I know I've seen Greg in my suites. Lori and I are known as the Sweet Girls. We've been there forever and a day. We kind of look a little different with the baseball hat on, but I know I've seen you all there. But through Leadership Grandstand that I'm a class member of right now, we went through sports tourism and got a lovely tour of all the facilities around town, except the Myrtle Beach Pelicans. Why? I'm not really sure. I think it was about the negotiations going on. However, they did enlighten us to tell us that baseball is the #1 sports attraction coming to this town. One is the Myrtle Beach Pelicans. Yes, we were with the Atlanta Braves. Loved it. Went to the Texans. Now we're with the Chicago Cubs. But it draws people into our area for them to spend money here. So please, from the bottom of my heart and everybody else here, please keep the Pelicans in Myrtle Beach. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that is all who have signed up. We do want to thank you all for being here. You have heard where we are in this process. And again, I will assure you that we are working very hard to work through these negotiations to come to a lease agreement. Okay? We're going to move on to today's consent agenda.
There aren't any.
Nothing. Okay. The first item on our regular agenda is the second reading of ordinance 2024-50.
Second reading of ordinance 2024-50 to annex 2.88 acres at the corner of 48th Avenue North and Wild Iris Drive, PIN number 42011020045, into the city of Myrtle Beach, and to rezone the property from Horry County GR General Residential to Myrtle Beach HC1 Highway Commercial.
All right, Ken, if you'll just wait 1 minute, please, as some people are leaving, and that way we can get some order back in the room. We want to hear you.
Mayor, I'm going to recuse myself from this one as my wife works with the property owner.
Thank you.
One way to clear a room, have me come speak.
Don't take it personally.
You should, Ken, take it personally.
All right, I think you're good to go.
There's been no changes since first reading. We'll be more than glad to review it again or answer any questions that you may have.
Can you just do a brief overview for anyone who didn't hear it the first time?
This is as it currently sits today. This is a county zoning map, but the property is currently in the county. The blue star represents the parcel in question. It's currently zoned general residential high density in the county. This is the piece of property based off its location, just giving you a clearer view. And here's actually a zoning map of the city of Myrtle Beach. See the brown is the general residential that goes all back behind it, and everything up above it is the Myrtlewood Golf Course. What you see here is the city of Myrtle Beach has the highway commercial, which goes down 48th Avenue, across the intersection in regard to, currently abuts RMV. While RMV is residential, it is a residential multifamily vacation, so it does have the commercial component to it. What they're requesting is, and they've met with us we've had 2 meetings in regard to this property with what they could do with the direction they were looking to go with this property. And what was settled on was the HC1 request for that piece of property, which would be in conjunction with the adjoining commercial properties. One more thing that is of note, the general residential in the county zoning classification does allow office use as a special exception, which from our discussions with the applicant is what they intend to locate on that property. The applicant is here as well today.
All right, thank you. May I please have a motion to approve the second reading of ordinance 2024-50?
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Mr. Louder, second from Ms. Hatley. Any discussion from council? Any discussion from the public? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Second reading of ordinance 2024-53.
Second reading of ordinance 2024-53 to enact the City of Myrtle Beach Comprehensive Plan 2024.
Yes, there's been no changes since first reading. Cameron couldn't be with us this morning, so Kelly and Ken are here to answer any questions if you have any, but like I said, there's been no changes.
Okay.
Motion to approve. Second.
Okay, motion from Mr. Louder, second from Mr. Chestnut. Any discussion from council? Any discussion from the public? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. The second reading of ordinance 2024-54.
Second reading of ordinance 2024-54, approving consent to the inclusion of certain property in a multi-county industrial or business park, approving the provision of certain special source revenue credits to IRH Myrtle Beach LLC, authorizing the execution and delivery of additional documents and other related matters.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
This is second reading. Good morning. I will go over this just briefly. There has been one change since first reading, so I'll touch on that at the end. But just as a reminder, the county has been working with the property owner and the developer, separate entities, to plan for and prepare the property for the construction of a $40 million dormitory-style housing project that would accommodate roughly 1,200, for simplicity's sake, I'm going to say J1 visa students that come here during the summer to help us supplement our summer workforce. As you noticed in the title, you're authorizing the consent for this property to be included in the multi-county park. Generally, the county drives this process. The only thing they ask for us is that we consent. Because it is inside the city limits, we have to do that. As a reminder, the property as is today generates about $30 a year in property taxes because of its ag status. With the tax abatement that has been requested, the property will generate about $50,000 a year initially and $100,000 a year as we move into it. If not for this agreement, it would generate about $200,000 a year, so significantly more than we currently generate, but not as much as we would if this were not in place. But I think we have had the conversation over the discussion of this project. The purpose-built J1 housing units are very important to the local economy and our local employers. The one change that has been made since the last asked Brooke to pull up the red line version. I think there was some conversation about the verbiage here with city and county workers and just sort of I'll just call it a little bit vague language. So we've tightened that up. The applicant had no, or the developer had no issue with that. We removed any reference to city or county workers, and generally the operator developer works with a number of different types of visa holders that would be transient, so it's not just J1, it's not just HB2. There's other types of visa programs that they would accommodate here as transient workers and seasonal workers. And that's the other part of this. We keep saying summer workers, but the J1 students are eligible to come at different times of the year, so being able to accommodate that has been happy to answer any questions or talk about anything in any more specific detail.
Motion to
Thank you.
approve.
Second.
Motion made from Mr. Louder, second from Dr. Connor. Any discussion from council? Any discussion from the public? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Brian. Second reading of ordinance 2024-55.
Second reading of ordinance 2024-55 to amend the Code of Ordinances, City of Myrtle Beach, Appendix A, zoning, Section 1407C, permitted uses, to add bars, taverns as a conditional use in the light manufacturing districts, and Article 1501, conditional uses, to add the applicable conditions.
There's been no changes since last reading. We couldn't get on board with the way they originally presented it, so we made some modifications to get it to be something that could meet their criteria as well as be in adherence to our ordinance. That's what we arrived at here today. Be glad to go over it in more detail or answer any questions.
If you would just briefly go over the details.
They originally came in requesting a private dog park with a bar as an accessory use that would make up 75% of their revenue. As originally requested, the bar does not meet our code definition of accessory use, which allows no more than 40% of the commercial income to be generated from the accessory use. In collaboration with the planning commission, in collaboration with the planning commission and staff, the applicant, we came up with some amendments to their request to allow bars and taverns as a conditional use, with the conditions based on the amount affiliated using usable outdoor open space instead of revenue. That's what led us. The facility shall have no less than 65% open space, not to include parking, and parking calculations shall be determined based on the standard of one space for 100 square feet of gross floor area, or design capacity divided by 2.5. These are all the LM zoning classifications in the city. This will apply to every LM zoning classification. This is the zoning classification of LM that they're actually looking at. It's the area in close proximity to the market common proper. These are all the properties in the area of the LM that we've identified. They are actually lot number 19 that they are looking to go to with their use.
Okay, thank you, Kim. Is there a motion to approve the second reading of ordinance 2024-55?
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Ms. Hatley, second from Mr. Smith. Any discussion from council?
Yes, I have a couple of questions. Ken, just very quickly, in general, the zoning classification of light manufacturing, what does that really encompass? I mean, it doesn't encompass dog parks, does it? What's the intent of it, I guess, is what I'm asking.
It's kind of a tricky question. You know, you look at what the intent of it, but you can't just look at what the intent of the zoning classification is. You have to look at what's being currently done within that zoning classification system. If you go to this right here, you see the word abandoned and empty lot a lot in throughout there. Light manufacturing zone allows we've had multiple amendments to it. Doesn't allow your heavy industrial, it allows your tech school. I mean, the biggest thing is, if you look at what we've got in there right now, you've got a couple of warehouses for some pool supply companies, you've got warehouses for the golf carts. It's a lot of warehouse space that's in there. The thing that you look about the idea with the dog parks, one of the complaints is dog parks is kind of like pickleball. One of the complaints that sometimes come from it is everybody likes it, but they don't like the noise always associated with it. So that's where the light manufacturing zoning classification does become a good place for a dog park. It's also got the alcohol beer aspect of it to it. While this is not a brew pub, it's kind of that brew pub concept in that you've got all the outdoor seating and the outdoor dining areas. If you look at the brew pubs, what's the big push where all the brew pubs go? It's into the light manufacturing zones. So to sit here and tell you a whole list of what, I do not have the whole list in front of me. I mean, but the name kind of says what it is, it's light manufacturing. But again, that is a zoning classification that is used by multiple municipalities, probably almost all of them across the state, across the country. Some of the best brew pubs I've been to, it's been kind of scary walking down that alley to get to it because it's in that off-the-place manufacturing area. But it's always safe because it's always well lit. Feels a whole lot better during the day than it does during the night, but that's the intent of these types of places. And to me, it's a good fit in the light manufacturing zone.
Okay, thank you, Kim. Any other discussion from council?
Ken, you said when they came to you about this, they had an idea, but the way they were going about it wasn't going to work. Is that right? And then
The WAG bar is, there's one currently in Asheville, or right outside of Asheville, North Carolina. And from everything you see on the website, you know, that unless they just told everybody, hey, we're taking pictures today, everybody come out, there's always a pretty good crowd there from what I see. They came to us with the idea of being a dog park, a members-only dog park, but 75% of their money coming from the sale of alcohol. Well, we don't consider a bar as an accessory use. So that's where we came up with some of the conditions that we placed upon them, being that shall have no less than 65% open space, not to include parking. So there has to be some uniqueness about you to go in this location. We're not just going to allow any bar coming off the street to come into this zoning classification. The unique feature on them is the 65% open space. And so that still met what they were looking for, and it made us feel better about it as far as the zoning code goes, which was actually something that we could enforce without having to make major amendments to other sections of our zoning code.
So you and the planning commission worked with them to find something that would work for both the city of Myrtle Beach and the applicant?
Yes, sir. This thing, this was discussed 3 times during planning commission. And this was a fair compromise. I mean, this is everybody eats cake.
But you could have just said, that doesn't work, but you helped out and found a solution that worked for everyone.
Because that's the direction that council has given us, and that's what we try to move forward with. Yes, sir, absolutely.
Thank you, Kim. Okay, is there any discussion from the public? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. First reading of ordinance 2024-57.
First reading of ordinance 2024-57, a supplemental ordinance for the issuance and sale of not exceeding $81 million, aggregate principal amount limited obligation bonds in 2 series of the city of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, for the purposes of defraying the costs of renovations to the city's convention center, improvements to the downtown arts and innovation district, and refinancing certain indebtedness of the city, prescribing the form of and details of such bonds, providing for the disposition of the proceeds thereof, and other matters relating thereto.
So we really have no changes to this concept since we talked about it at the workshop last week. What we have here is a refunding of the 2014 A and B bonds. The refunding is approximately $44.5 million. We have new money of $36.5 million for the convention center facade and A&I district infrastructure. The good news is with the refunding, we expect to have $5.5 million worth of cash flow savings, which spreads out to about $380,000 a year. One of the questions asked last meeting was, what do we owe on the hotel? What do we currently still owe on the hotel? That's about $44 million. What do we still owe on the convention center was another question. That is $4.7 million right now. It is left over from a bond that we issued in 2012 for HVAC improvements.
Another question was asked was, how much would this increase our debt? And this is really another kind of good news story. When we add in the new debt and take out the refunding, our estimated total debt, principal only, this is just sort of a rough principal only, will be $291 million. Now, that's only an increase of $29 million because we intend to offset some of the cost on the new money and on the refunding with premiums. The current market is such that we expect to get about $7 million less in overall debt principal than we would before issuing this debt because premiums. Premiums mean that when you take a bond to market, it is worth more than what it would be otherwise because of the conditions in the market right now. The $81 million, under the bond ordinance, we could go with option A or B that I presented at the last council meeting. Option A only saved about $4.3 million, but it did not extend the term of the taxable debt. Or we could go with option B, which does extend the term of the taxable debt by 3 years. However, it saves us an additional $1.3 million. The bond ordinance is written the way that it is so that when we go to market and we get the actual numbers, we have the flexibility to decide what is best for the city and what's going to offer us the best savings model for the city.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 2024-57?
So moved.
Motion from Mr. Smith, is there a second? Motion fails. Well, I guess we need to bring this back up in another workshop so that it's better understood.
Thank you.
Thank you. First reading of ordinance 2024-58.
First reading of ordinance 2024-58, an ordinance to authorize the city manager to enter into franchises for water safety services and beach concessions.
Thank you. The ordinance authorizes the manager to enter into franchise agreements with the beach services. The franchise agreements are for 7 years, and during that 7-year term, the beach services are required to guard the public beach from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. every day from April 15 to September 30, including all state, local, and federal holidays. The franchise agreement requires the beach services to meet lifeguard staffing requirements, and those staffing requirements vary depending on the time of the summer season. During the peak season, the two beach services are required to deploy more than 65 lifeguards, and there are fewer guards required early in the season and fewer guards obviously required later in the season. In addition to those lifeguards, the beach services are also required to deploy additional mobile lifeguards. In exchange for the provision of the lifeguard services, the beach services are granted the exclusive right to rent beach equipment, and that is primarily the rental of chairs and umbrellas within their designated territory. There is no right to rent hard equipment like surfboards, skim boards, or boogie boards. The franchise agreement requires that requires that the functions of water safety and beach concessions be kept separate, so that the beach services are required to deploy or employ separate beach attendants so that lifeguards can do lifeguard things. And in fact, lifeguards are not allowed to participate in any commercial activity between the hours of 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. Those are the high points of the franchise agreement. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Will. Is there a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 2024-58?
Motion approved.
I think I heard Ms. Hatley first. Who was second, please?
Mr. Chestnut.
I've said a little bit.
Second from Mr. Louder. Any discussion from council? Any discussion from the public?
Again, I just have a question that, I see a lot of online comments about the beach services in the city. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't differentiate the services they're receiving from what they expect from the city itself. So I'm just curious, when you're going through and negotiating these franchises, is there a way to include customer satisfaction into the decision? Maybe making that part of the selection criteria or holding them accountable for, actually taking care of, especially the commercial part of it, the rentals and stuff. That's where you see most of the complaints. I just think it would reflect better on the city if the people that we're franchising to, had accountability to customer satisfaction.
One of the additions to this franchise agreement is that they do have to put their guards through customer service training.
What about the commercial side?
If they all work for the same company.
It would basically be in their employee handbook.
Good, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion from the public? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. The first reading of ordinance 2024-59.
First reading of ordinance 2024-59, ordinance to authorize the city manager to execute extension of campground property lease and assignment of lease to related entity and to amend purchase and sale agreement.
Madam Mayor, motion to continue.
Thank you.
Second.
Motion made to continue this item from Mr. Louder, second from Ms. Hatley. Any discussion from council? Any discussion from the public? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Motion 2024-77.
Motion 2024-77 to declare certain vehicles abandoned or derelict pursuant to the authority of Article 41 of Title 56, South Carolina Code of Laws, 2001.
Okay, these vehicles will be shown on the screen. If there's anyone here that represents any of them, please let us know. And if not, I will ask for a motion to declare.
Motion to declare.
Motion from Mr. Louder, second from Dr. Connor. Any discussion from council? Any discussion from the public? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Do we have any other non-agenda items from the public?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any council communications or communications from management or staff?
Mayor, I know I mentioned in our invocation that today is Suicide Prevention Awareness Day, and the month of September is also Suicide Prevention Month. And I would just like to tell our citizens that if you are feeling thoughts of harming yourself or a loved one you are concerned about, that you can call or text 988 to get help. And so I think that's really important for us to remember today, but also to remember all year long.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else from council? All right, we do have one more executive session item that we need to get to before we adjourn today. I will ask for a motion to go into executive session to discuss negotiations concerning proposed contractual arrangements involving the Myrtle Beach Pelicans. We will invite Fox Simons, Will Bryan, Brian Tucker, Michelle Schumpert, Marla Bell, Meredith Denari, and Amy Newshafer. May I please have a motion? Motion from Mr. McClure, second from Dr. Connor. Any discussion from council? Any discussion from the public? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries.
And taking place in here.
Yeah, we will have executive session in this room, so I would ask the media to please remove any microphones that may be on the podium.
Yeah, there's one of them up there. I'm wondering why. Wondering why this comes up when I go to. So it's not, okay. I just, I'm like, what?
Ready. Let's get Jen back on. Is there a motion to come out of executive session?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, motion carries. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting is adjourned.